Well, good morning or good afternoon. I'm not sure what time it is right now, but thank you very much for inviting us to the annual meeting. My name is Muriel Grimble. I'm with the Alberta Gaming and Liquor Commission, and I'm joined today with my esteemed colleagues, Jim Lightbody and Carol Hardy from Jim from BCLC and Carol Hardy from the Oregon State Lottery. We're pleased to be invited here to address the GSA annual meeting of the membership of both the vendor community and the operators across the nation to share our views regarding the importance of standards which support the mission-critical technical development and foundation from which we will achieve our gaming strategies. So why are we here today? Well, we want to express our views on how we think about the gaming business and the operator relationship with GSA, and also to share our thoughts on how the GSA will be able to play an even more critical role in the continued success of the gaming industry for our mutual benefit. So let me take a moment to really introduce myself. I've been with the AGLC for 25 years and played a part in the growing gaming business from a small traditional lottery market to a multiple channel enterprise gaming jurisdiction that generates about $1.5 billion a year for the province of Alberta. I have the operational oversight responsibility of 25 casinos, 3 racing entertainment centers, about 13,000 slot machines, 6,000 VLTs in about 1,000 locations in the province, as long as we also have electronic bingo and the ticket lottery business. I also have, over the past few years, played a co-chair role on the Canadian-wide cross-country working group, which is made up of many of my colleagues across each province in our country. As well, we adopted the state of Oregon, who also shared our vision. I'm also pleased to have Jim Lightbody join us. Jim's been with the BCLC since 2001 as a VP of lottery gaming and helped transform and grow the lottery business through an increased focus on channel partnering relationships, data analytics, marketing, product development, and overall customer centricity. Jim recently changed portfolios and now serves as a VP of Casino and Community Gaming, responsible for the strategic direction and the business development of 17 casinos, 12 community centers, a business that's about $1.6 billion. Last but not least, we have Carol Hardy, Assistant Director of Marketing for the Oregon State Lottery. Carol's been in the gaming industry since the 80s and is responsible for the product development and management of a portfolio of 7 traditional product lines and the video lottery products. She's also responsible for the market research and the sales analysis, corporate advertising, and internet marketing. Carol is the chair of the Oregon Council on Problem Gambling and an avid supporter of Oregon's role in GSA, as well as the work that we're doing in the Cross Canada Working Group. Today, we'll start with the articulation of the vision of the evolution of the GSA, with the hope of generating more engagement by the operators across the globe. We will then share some of the specific business strategies from which our jurisdictions come from in order to provide context for which drives our sense of urgency for engaging the GSA in a new way. We'll summarize our thoughts and hopefully engage the audience in some questions and discussion. I'd like to start by reflecting for a moment on how we got here. It started about 4 years ago with a meeting of government-operated gaming jurisdictions across Canada, of course, including Oregon. And this meeting evolved into a collaborative movement, which is really the foundation that cemented the shared vision that we called at the time convergence. This group decided by working together with one voice, we could better articulate this vision to the vendor community and make it easier and more cost-effective for the vendor community to respond and provide the products and services that would support our journey to modernizing the gaming technologies and help us meet the needs of our players today and into the future. I can clearly remember the first meeting on convergence right here in Las Vegas, when our group invited the vendor community to come hear our unified vision at the time, and we asked the vendor community, please help us on this journey. 4 years later, we have a strong technical roadmap, meaningful collaboration, and a commitment across Canadian jurisdictions for membership in the GSA. Representation on the GSA board and a leadership role on the Operator Advisory Committee of the GSA. We feel we've come a long way on this journey, but we recognize that there is more heavy lifting ahead of us. And again, we are looking to the vendor community and the operators across our industry to embrace this vision of how we are going to further our mutual success. So let's talk about why standards are so important to us. I think we can summarize it very simply. It is central to our long-term business strategy of providing our customers with products they want and when and where they want them. We capture this by saying any place, anytime, anywhere. To accomplish this, we have to move away from proprietary monolithic systems to open systems and interoperability, to reduce the cost, to decrease customization, and improve time to market, and implement best-of-breed solutions. It's all about convergence across all of our gaming businesses and putting the player at the center of our universe. So how has the GSA and the OAC relationship supported our business strategy to date? We recognize that for many years, the GSA members have committed significant time and money to successfully develop a robust suite of gaming products that clearly support our vision. It includes, as was mentioned earlier, the G2S, the S2S, GDS, G2S wide area protocols. These are, without a doubt, the foundational pieces to our strategy. Also, over the past few years, the GSA has expanded its focus to encourage operator participation through the Operator Advisory Committee, which has facilitated a shift to standards versus protocols, which is where we want to focus our discussion today. We are pleased with the GSA's response to broaden the technical committee and to address the operator business requirements. For example, the GSA board acknowledged the need to address specific wide area protocol requirements, which is mission critical to jurisdictions, particularly in Canada and Oregon, as we organize many successful or operate many successful VLT networks. Also, the support to add the informed player class to address government requirements for responsible gaming programs, which again is critical to the Canadian and the Oregon markets, and which previously caused significant costs and effort to customize for each jurisdiction. This is a great example of mutual benefits for both operators and the vendor community, creating a single vision through standards through the GSA. As well as the work on the player user interface for both casino environments and VLT distributed networks, which again is of particular interest in Canada, where a significant replacement strategy is at play for the VLT network, which carries a vision of a single view of our player, with the PUI being central to making this happen. The current priority, which we think is mission critical, is the need for certification and interoperability of gaming products. We need to accelerate the work on the certification, as we have implementation plans that are ahead of the current GSA working group efforts, although earlier we heard a little bit more about those efforts, so thank you very much. Also, the internet gaming efforts of the OAC and the S2S committees is a first step in addressing the technology convergence needs resulting from increased interest in online gaming offerings amongst gaming jurisdictions. So, where is the GSA today from our perspective? Currently, a high percentage of vendor representation on the GSA board. An effective Operators Advisory Committee is in place and trying to move the agenda to respond in a timely manner to the business needs, as well as an active Certification Development Committee. The vendor community has also resourced strong technical committees to develop the protocols. Third-party labs are engaged as GSA members to support the interests of the vendors and the operators. The funding model is based on tiered dues structure, with the lion's share of the funding coming from the vendor community. So what needs to change to move forward on the journey? Increased operator membership and engagement in building standards and certification. We think that more operator perspective and can influence the GSA and can focus efforts on standards and guidelines for the products that we need. Executive leadership needs to have increased operator representation so GSA can better align to the market needs of our industry. Partnerships with regulators as they become more forward-looking, identifying regulatory areas that lend themselves to standardization to enhance the security and the integrity of our gaming businesses. Stabilize funding through a new business model to allow the GSA to expand the scope and embrace standardization initiatives, which will help facilitate its sustainability for the future. The new model needs to consider operator leadership roles, funding principles based on value for the dollar investment, as the current funding model is difficult to justify by government agencies. It's a challenge to make a compelling business case for membership at the gold and platinum levels at today's value proposition. In summary, GSA must move to fulfill its broader standards mandate and move forward beyond protocol standardization to become a comprehensive standards organization. And this can only be achieved if the basic plumbing is standardized so that our industry can focus on the things that add value to the business. So what's the urgency? Well, we are 3 jurisdictions here today, a small representation of a larger operator community aligned with this thinking that standards and certification is the root of our ability to achieve our objectives. As government-operated organizations, not unlike any other gaming operators, we need to ensure the integrity and security of our technologies and our end product to the player. The due diligence and rigor associated with developing standards and certifications is paramount in providing the assurances we need to mitigate the risks of failure, to increase our probability of success as we venture forward to offer products and services in a different way. Failure is not an option. For us, this stage of planning, research, and discovery is over, and we are aggressively moving on the implementation of the strategy to achieve convergence. So that's sort of our view, and now we'd like to have, start with BCLC, Jim Lightbody, if you'd like to come up and talk about what's happening in British Columbia, and then Carol will join him afterwards talking about the Oregon State Lottery.
So only in the Canadian way can we actually take over states in the U.S., and we're happy to invite any other states to join Canada. But let me start by just telling you a little bit more about BCLC. As Muriel said, we're on the leading edge in terms of all of the lines of gambling that we offer in the province. We have a very well-developed casino business. We have a very well-developed lottery business, and we also, for the past 7 years, have been in the online gambling business, which is only available to adults in British Columbia. The only part of gambling that we don't actually participate in is in horse racing, but I will say that we are actively associated with that industry, and that we actually, with our partners, manage the slot machines and other forms of gambling in some of the racetracks in BC. As you also heard, we do quite a large turnover in the province, 1.6 billion, and our profit margins are pretty healthy. We return about 1.1 billion to our shareholder, who's the province of British Columbia. And we do this, again, through marketing to a little over 3.1 million adults in our province. But we have a challenge. Our challenge is we've now filled the supply gap of gambling opportunities in our province, and now we're going to turn from being a supply-driven business to a demand-driven business. And that means we've got to focus more on our players and, more importantly, those casual players who aren't participating with us as much as we'd like them to. Now, I'm not a technology guy, so if there's any questions about that, you won't be getting answers from me. I'm a marketing guy, and one of the things that I'm excited about with the Standards Association that you're developing is that you will be able to help us reduce some of the costs that are involved in bringing the games to our players so that we can focus that funding on other things that are going to attract them and then make it a more exciting experience for them when they do play with us. At BCLC, we've just embarked in one of our largest and most expensive initiatives in our over 25-year history. Our current gaming system that runs all of our connected casinos as well as community gaming centers, which are, let's just call them mini casinos for now. They have everything except for live table games. And this system is going to cost us probably over $100 million over the next 3 years to replace the current system and introduce a lot of hardware and software and other technology stuff that our IT guys are all excited about. But this is obviously going to mean that it's going to hamper our ability to invest in some other kinds of things. And what the Bally system that we've purchased is going to allow us to do, however, is really initiate some greater experiences with our players. So this system, while it's designed to attract and make it a more exciting experience for our players, is also designed to protect the integrity of our systems and allow us to focus on the player. However, this investment required is going to be another huge issue for us if we don't have systems and standards that allow us to reduce the operating costs that are necessary to implement all this hardware and software. So the more that we can reduce the integration costs that we have to incur, the more that we can spend on the marketing and product initiatives for our players. And without those standards, those common standards, we're really in a hard spot not to be able to do that. So our vision is to leverage these common standards so we have the time, energy, and funding necessary to focus on our player. And just as a quick example, as everybody knows, there's lots of games that are out there from all of our great vendors, including games that we're offering right now on our online gambling system. And we have players who are members of our PlayNow.com, which is our online gaming site. And we have players who are members of our BC Gold Encore, which is our player account system in our casinos. And then we have players who play lottery completely anonymous to us. And what we're trying to do is to try to integrate all of those systems so that we can have that one view of the player so that we can actually make that experience a lot more exciting for them. And we know that when they go online and play some of these games, we'd love to be able to then leverage that so that they can come to one of our facilities and play some of those games. So through our IT strategy and through our marketing strategy, we're trying to combine that so that we can offer people with the games that they want, when they want it, and in the place that they want it, whether it's at home, whether it's in one of our casinos, or whether it's on their mobile phone. So with that, I think we're going to leave questions for the end, Muriel, and I'll pass it on to Carol. Thank you.
Good afternoon. So I'm a marketing guy too, but I think what's really interesting about this journey we've been on over the last 4 years is the partnership that's happened between business and technology. In fact, some of my new best friends in Canada are on the technical side, and I think that's really interesting because it takes both sides working together. So there's been a lot of interesting partnerships established. So what are Oregon's interests? Just to put a framework around it, we operate 12,000 VLTs in a wide area network in 2,300 retail locations. That is the focus of our VLT business. We also have 9 traditional products that we offer. In FY 2011, we generated over $720 million in net sales. And today, our VLT network is comprised of products from 4 suppliers and based on a proprietary DXS4 protocol. Our number one gaming initiative in Oregon right now is to migrate from that proprietary video system to one based on GSA standards. And we will be implementing a G2S central system, deploying new VLTs based on G2S protocol standards, upgrading our WAN to Ethernet from WAN to Ethernet from frame relay, and installing Ethernet LAN wiring to 2,300 locations. So that's a large initiative. So why are we here and talking about this today? Because that is a large initiative, and really, I think we have to keep going back and saying this is all about the player, and we need to be where the player wants to be entertained. And if we are not focused on content and being able to be nimble and move with technologies, we as a gaming industry may actually lose the ability to compete in the entertainment space. So this is why we think standards are important. Really what we want to focus on, we want our suppliers to focus on is content and the experience rather than on customized systems and customized VLTs. So because I'm a marketing person and this wasn't written by me, I probably will jump a little off of this because I think everybody's already said it. The only way you're going to get to true standards is if you have open test scripts and this is a communication thing. So if I'm going to say communicate this way, if we are not all saying this is exactly how you communicate, you're going to get right back to where we are today with customized solutions. And so that's why certification becomes very important. Everybody says plug and play. We know it's not ever going to be exactly plug and play, but as much as you can standardize as possible, that's our goal. Clearly there's going to be some things that will be different, but I think this open discussion, not only among operators, but operators and manufacturers, is how you're going to get to something that's as close to plug and play as possible. So again, same thing that you've heard from our Canadian partners is it's all about the player, and it is about having a way to communicate with the player, engage the player, and a single view of the player is what we're building to. What we're doing right now in Oregon, just to put some specifics around it, is we're actually in a better place than I think some of the Canadian jurisdictions are because we do not have a lot of different verticals. We don't have a lot of different player databases. And what we are trying to do is say we are creating a loyalty program where we can have relationships with our players that will be the single view of the player, which becomes critical as you look at technologies moving forward to say how do you communicate with them in one place. So right now we're doing what we can in the US is leveraging our traditional products, and we are about to launch a website called The Orcade. This is a for fun website, but the features of it are that every scratch ticket, which is one of our core products, has very wide appeal. Every scratch ticket will have a second chance. So every ticket that's in the market, you can enter it for a chance to win the last top prize in the game. So it allows us to manage that product line differently than we do today. You don't have to pull tickets out of the market when the last top prize is sold, and you're adding value, you're engaging consumers in a different way. There's 4 fun skill games that you can play against your friends. If you get high score, you can share achievement badges with people on Facebook. So we're trying to integrate the social media and where people are today and engage them that way. You can win points when you enter second chance drawings, and you can spend those to enter drawings for promotional prizes. And really key, what we've heard from our consumer is, you see the We Heart Oregon at the end. I think this is something that lotteries should recognize, is we have powerful brands. People are loyal to us because we do good things. And when you start moving into the future, that's really critical, because you don't know where your competition's going to come from. But being smart about that now and recognizing who your customers are, connecting with them is absolutely critical moving into the future. The other thing that's absolutely critical is the play responsibly piece. So we are, again, about to launch this site. It's an age control site, which is a step beyond other U.S. lotteries and what they've done with for-fun sites. But we believe it's absolutely critical that you need to protect the consumer, and this is intended for adult entertainment. So again, why is convergence important? We talked about it a lot, but as we're looking around the show and we're saying, what are the things we need to look at in the future? Responsible gaming absolutely has to be there, and we believe that we should all be managing responsible gaming in the same way. We shouldn't be managing in different ways. Loyalty programs are really a way to tie in the efforts of trying to get people to set limits, is engage them in loyalty components, so you can have a holistic view of gaming. We've also talked a lot about the player user interface. Our vision there is that is just a view into internet, potentially internet delivery of game content. So you could have internet game content delivered on a VLT. You could open the whole player user window and have it take over the screen and say that's a way to deliver content. Could be on handheld devices, wherever people want to access the games. This is another just last key point, is one of the things that Oregon is also championing is regulatory issues around where we're going to move next. If we don't have standards, particularly as you move into the internet and mobile spaces, and there are not true standards, certainly not in the US, because those things are not open to us now. If we don't have standards, we will potentially make some mistakes, we'll make missteps, and it may damage the ability of all of us to move forward. So I think the GSA has given us a real platform, not to begin with developing protocol standards, but we are hoping that we can, operators can continue to use this as a platform to send common messages to the manufacturers to say, this is what we want. This is what we want as customers. That allows us to get things out of the way that avoid customization and allow us to focus on content, which is where we're going to engage with the consumer. So pass it back to Muriel.
Okay, thank you. Thanks a lot, guys. I think you'll find that there's lots of similarities in what we are talking about today, and hopefully we can have some discussion. I was just going to really talk about Alberta now, a little bit about what we're thinking about. We actually started, articulating a vision. We call it our 2018 vision, but it's really, and a 10-year vision, but of course now we're in 2012, so we still call it our 10-year vision, which really laid a foundation for what we're calling sort of our gaming end state, which is really what everyone has been talking about today. And this end state has laid the foundation for determining, what we need to achieve our objectives, and a methodical plan in order to guide our activities over this 10-year period taking us to 2018. And we clearly are moving, as is British Columbia and Ontario, to what we refer to as sort of a product-centric gaming environment, where we would put the products out. If they sold really well, we would buy more products, get rid of the ones that weren't. And that was our environment that we have been in for all of our businesses. And certainly in the slot world, it's far more dynamic. But in our video lottery world, actually, we haven't changed really a game since 2004. And actually, technically, probably haven't changed a game since 1991 when we launched the video lottery project. So we see our world changing considerably in that world. And certainly the casino world has always been dynamic, so we've learned a lot from that, and certainly from a lot of the folks in this room. But we're moving now to what we're calling the player-centric environment, and working towards the common technology architecture and sort of maximizing the maximization of sort of those business standards which we're talking about through GSA, and certainly the work that has been done on the OAC. And the output is really a gaming experience. This is our language here that encourages a healthy balance between sustaining our revenues and responsible gaming. We have a very healthy gaming environment in Alberta, and we recognize that the challenge isn't necessarily growing the business, it's probably just sustaining the business that we have. So we've broken down our vision into 2018 into 3 windows of time. So the first window is our video lottery replacement window, which really is our first step in the journey. And I guess today we could say that we're sort of the rubber's hitting the road for us, and we're really urgently trying to get this move forward. One, we have some obsolescence in our product that we have in the field, and our revenues are not particularly strong right now. I mean, we have a huge business, but it's pretty flat. And the task of modernizing the technology will establish that foundational layer, which we're going to use for all of our businesses. So again, it's back to we want to have a strong foundation of technologies that allow us to leverage and to complete that objective of that single view of the player. And it's really critical for us in terms of our future strategy. Although some of the pieces included in the technology modernization are new to our organization, we are taking a very calculated, fact and proven-based approach to determining both the availability and the reliability of the various pieces of functionality required technology that needs to be integrated to ensure a successful end product, which will enable us to replace the VLTs and sustain our revenues. The status of our first window of activity, which we're heavy into right now, is the VLT system and the hardware replacement. We are pleased to be working with Spilo to implement the new games management system. We've also procured an enterprise service bus from Software AG, acquired a new telecommunications network, acquired the download configuration functionality from the GMS, and we've issued an RFP for the player user interface platform and what we call our player experience management, which will close at the end of October. And we've just closed the RFP for the VLT terminals, which we need to replace. So this may seem simple on paper to look at. We're just doing a few things, but in our world, that's a lot of things to do, and hopefully having it started in June of 2012. So the time is behind us. The project timelines move our vision to really, again, converge all of our gaming businesses, taking us through our casino modernization, which then we recognize has some different complexities than our video lottery network, and moving us through to looking at our ticket business. I mean, as Carol mentioned, we have a player, like we're over 3 million people in Alberta, but we see our players as having a variety of experiences. And the ticket business, 80% of our population, 18 and over, really buys a ticket. So we have a huge sort of data opportunity with these folks that may want to play other products if we make them available to them in the way that they want to play. And we also have, we love this product in Alberta. It's called Bingo, which we know anybody in this room knows that Bingo is struggling. And we also have an urgency because we deal with our charities in our Bingo program is to also enhance the delivery of the Bingo product to ensure that the charities receive the kind of dollars they need to support the programs that we do. So it looks a little late in the schedule. It takes us into 2017-18, but unfortunately there's not a lot of revenue in that business, so it kind of takes the back seat. But we spend a lot of time thinking about how we rejuvenate the Bingo business. And there may be other channels. I mean, we don't know what channels. We certainly don't have approval in our province for internet gaming, but with all the discussion and the things we hear about here and in other places, I would assume at least people in the province of Alberta someday will be playing lottery products on the internet, we hope, but it's not approved at this point in time. So as you can see, there are a lot of folks that are moving in the direction that we are. I won't go through them all, but we have lots that are purchasing and implementing systems based on the GSA standards. So I guess the question really is what next? With standardization, we think more is better. More operators implementing standards means more vendor product, more cost-effective delivery, which means more business value. The continued evolution of our business strategies depends on the standards and the partnerships, and our obvious choice as a partner with GSA. In summary, standardization is central to our strategy of providing customers with the products they want, when and where they want them. Standards are critical to interoperability and improved time to market of gaming products and services. Interoperability is also critical to our strategy of implementing the best-of-breed solutions. And of course, internet and mobile are becoming realities in our business, and we need a way to integrate these channels into our legacy businesses. So at the end of the day, standards and certification will facilitate the convergence across all of our gaming businesses. We feel we need to look at developing standards as an investment in us achieving our business strategies, and maybe not sort of truly just a cost of membership. The governance of GSA must evolve, we believe, into a three-way, meaningful partnership of operators, regulators, and manufacturers. Any questions of all of us? Thank you very much. So if there's any questions, we'd be happy to entertain them.